It was my sophomore year of high school. Up until that point, I hadn't seen my dad in about 10 years. Coach had made a rule. He made a rule that if you miss practice, you will miss a game. So there's one practice I had to miss because I wanted to go see my dad. Now, remind you, I hadn't seen my dad up until that point in about 11 years. We had just reunited. My little brother found him, and I wanted to go see him. It was just one day of practice that I had to miss. I really didn't want to miss practice, but it was my dad. And I hadn't seen him in years, so I felt like that would have been the one excuse, that at least one of few excuses that would have been worth it. Game time commences. So we're playing this team. I think it was a team called Woodbridge. We are up 50 points in the game. Like at this point, it's third quarter. We're up 50 points. Like we're blowing them out. Now I didn't normally get that much time on my JV team, but of course, when you're blowing the team out, coaches they put you in. Everybody got to play. Now we had about 18 players on our team at this time. So all 17 players, not include me, got to play in that game, and I sat on the bench the whole game. And what made it even worse, for the first time, well, at least one of the few times, my cousins, three of my cousins came to the game, and one of my cousins, he looked up to me. He was younger than me. He looked up to me. We balled all the time, so it would have been marvelous. It would have been all I wanted to do was go in there in that game and at least get 1 point for him. Do something, get a steal or something, maybe a rebound. But I really wanted to go in there and at least get one basket, just so I can, that's how I could do it in front of them. They don't. My family didn't get a chance to come to many of the games, and this is one of those few times. And then they sat fairly close. They was like 3 or 4, seats behind the bench. So to not see me play, for me not to play, it just felt devastating. I was so upset about it. A tear had ran down my eye, and I tried to suck in that tear. Oh my goodness, I did not want to cry in front of everybody. I didn't want to cry in front of my cousins, and I really didn't want to cry in front of the cousin that looked up to me. I don't think he had ever seen me cry before. I didn't want that to be the first day, but that tear, it just dropped. I tried to suck it in with just one tear. It dropped, and when I kind of like glanced to the left, one of my classmates, and this was another guy. I actually just seen him the other day, if you can believe it or not. This was another guy that that was kind of a friend. Someone that had a lot of respect for me. Every time we see him was always love. And he kind of looked up to me in a way. Like he looked at me like one of those guys that really could ball. So to to look and see him look at me be sad, man, it really had me upset, man. It really did. That was a bad day for your boy. And to make matters even worse, um, the next game during the week, that practice, our star player had missed practice. He missed practice. He was the player that scored the most points on our team. He averaged the most points. Really good player, really cool guy. I see him to this day. It's always love. But he missed the practice. So the game's going on. It's a close game. This is the next game. Like the very next game, if you can believe it or not. It's a close game. Now we need him. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be all the way 100 with you. I low key wanted coach to put him in the game. I did because I knew he could be, the difference. I knew he was kind of the reason why we were losing. Like I kind of knew that deep down in my soul, because he wasn't in the game. Because he was in the game, that game probably wouldn't have been that close. Like I actually really wanted the coach to put him in, but I also was extremely curious to see what the coach is going to do. Now I'm watching the coach. I'm just looking at him, and I can just see in his eyes he's foaming at the mouth to put my boy. I think I can call him my boy in. he puts him in. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe he put him in. Even though I wanted him to put him in, I couldn't believe he put him in. Like, he broke his own rule. It was just as great as it was making the team. It was just there were just moments, man, that just that just really when I think back on it, man, it's just like sometimes you just you kind of wonder a little bit if how much it was worth it. But with everything you go through, you're good and you're bad. But I thought about that simply because I was like practicing with my son the other day, and it just popped up in my head. And my son did. I don't know. It just came out of nowhere. My son was looking at me. He's like, "Yeah, Dad, you okay?" Like, I think he kind of see that something was wrong. And I played it off. I didn't cry in front of him, and I played it off. And I was like, "Yeah, fine, son." So I cracked a smirk. I said, "All right, son, crouch down, eyes forward, dribble with your left hand. Trust yourself, because I was teaching him how to dribble." But man, for some reason, that memory just came out of nowhere. Normally, my memories of basketball is pretty fond as a whole because, even though I went through some things, I had a lot of great memories. But I also say that to say this: with anything in life, it's gonna be good moments, it's gonna be bad moments, but you never give up. Even though that happened, the next practice I gave it my all. Whenever I got a chance to get into the game, I gave it everything I had. Whether it was 1 minute, whether it was 10 minutes, whenever I got the opportunity, I gave it my all. It's not always about what happens to you. It's how you deal with it. And with that said, the next year, I made the varsity team. Now I could have quit. I just imagine if I would have quit in that moment. I could have quit. I could have let my pride get in the way. You think I'd have made varsity next year? The head coach of varsity seen that I quit in the middle of the year. You think he would have let me play? I would have had no chance. So even when it's rough, man, even when it's tough, do the best you can and do the right thing, and never, under any circumstances, give up. This is your boy, Launchpad 1412, and I'm out.